Make a line plot for the data given. So we have the life expectancy of animals, and we have a chart here that says that we have the animal that, for example, could be a black bear. We also could potentially have a cat, a pet cat. You've got something like a giraffe and other kinds of animals. And they want us to make a line plot using this data. So the first thing we need to do is we need to actually kind of figure out our line plot. The first thing we need to do is decide on a scale. And in order to do that, we have to look at the values that we are trying to graph. So if we make our line plot here, make our number line here, the first thing we have to do is decide, well, what is the lowest number that we have to put into this line plot, and what's the largest number that we have to put into this line plot? And the largest number that we have to put in this line plot appears to be this 20 and 20 here. So the largest value that we have to worry about is 20. And the smallest value that we have to worry about is our little mouse, which is 3. And so we need to create this line plot that's going to fit all of these numbers in there as best we can. So let's try that out, right? So we have, make this 3, make this 4, make this 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And so now we've gone from 3 to 20, and we've got every number in between. And that will give us plenty of space to talk about the values here. Now, with a line plot, you're trying to decide on the frequency. You're trying to show people the frequency or the number of times that something occurs of a value. So the number of occurrences that a value has. And you do that by using x's. So x's for one occurrence, for one frequency, one show there. And so, for example, if we take this 3 here, there's one animal that has a life expectancy of 3, right? So we're going to put 1x above this 3, and then I'm going to cross that out in my mind, right? We can say we cross that guy out right here, right? So 3 is done. And so we're going to put an x above that 3. Now, there are no animals that have 4. There are no animals that have 4. I'm not going to put an x there, but there is one that has 5, right? We have this rabbit, this pet rabbit that has a 5. So I'm going to cross him out. And I'm going to put an x for that rabbit above 5 to show that there's at least one animal that has a life expectancy of 5. And I don't see anything that has a 6. The next number we have would be a 10, right? So there's 2 10s, right? So there's 2 10s here. I'm going to put an x above the 10 twice, 1 and 2, to show that there are 2 animals, 2 x's, that have a life expectancy of 10 years. Okay. I don't see 11, but I do see a 12. We have our cat that has 12. We have the dog that has 12 and a leopard that has 12. That's interesting. And so we're going to put 1, 2, 3 x's above our 12. I don't see 13s, 14s, but there is a 15. We have our lion here and our cow. They have a life expectancy of 15, right? So we'll put 1, 2 X's above 15. 16, 17, 18 is our next value. This black bear has a life expectancy of about 18 years. So I'm going to put 1X above our 18. And then we have 2 more animals, the chimpanzee and the horse, that have a life expectancy of 20 years. Okay. And so what we have here is on the y-axis, we have the number, let's say the number of years, right? And then on the x-axis for the number line, you can say, or no, excuse me, not number of years. On the y-axis, we'd say the number of animals, right? On the y-axis, we'd say number of animals. And then on the x-axis, we'd say number of years, right? Because there's 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 20 years, right? So this is the number of years, right? So on the y-axis, you're saying that there's either 1 animal or maybe 2 animals or 3 animals that have a life expectancy of 12 years or 15 years or 18 years, okay? And then we got to make sure we put our title. I always tend to look at the actual title of the data chart. So if you can just say, right, life expectancy of animals. And that would be a sufficient title to show that you're looking at the life expectancy of an animal, and then you're telling me how many animals fit into that category. And so you're finding the frequency of the value, right? And so for 12 would have a frequency of 3, 15 would have a frequency of 2, and then 20 would have a frequency of 2, and then the rest would have 1, right? So if you're going to make a line plot, that is how you would make it. You also can call this, a lot of people call this line plot, right? So you can call this a line plot. Some people also call this a dot plot. So some people call this a line plot and some people call this a dot plot, because rather than using X's, right, they'll use dots. So say if we had an expectancy of 8 years for an animal, some people would make this dot here and they'd say that that's a dot plot instead. So you can use a line plot, you can say it's a dot plot, but either way you're looking for frequency of a value, and then you need to make sure that your labels are here, your y-axis and your x-axis, and then your title.